Hello there. Hope you're having a great week. This is Joe Martin, pastor at First Baptist Church in Toledo, Washington. We've been spending on our Sundays a lot of time talking about and working on, as a community, addressing the issue of loneliness and the need for friendship. How people really, you and I, we need friends. And having a friend and being a friend is a huge part of being a disciple of Jesus. Jesus said, I call you my friends. And that we practice philos as a way of practicing agape love, that brotherly love, that brotherly kindness. You know, you sometimes may wonder, especially as you start out this year, where is my ministry going to be? What am I going to be doing? You may wonder what service you can really be for Christ. And there's a lot of things that can add to that and direct that. You might even wonder, okay, what could my contribution to the life of TFBC be? What could my part in community be? Or maybe some of you that watch us go to a different church, what could your part be? Well, I have a suggestion, and this kind of came out of just a discussion in one of my classes, but here it is. You could become a loneliness lookout. I know that sounds crazy, and I had some other ways of describing this that were less positive, but a loneliness lookout is really what it is. You know, often people will gather in a church, any church, and it's a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe it's the first time they've been, or maybe they've gone there for a while, but they've been a little bit out, and they're hoping they might find comfort, or they're hoping they might meet somebody or make a friend that can help them know God, that something will be said to them through somebody that can impact their life or help their life or change their life. That they can come to know God's purpose in their life. But the sad part is maybe just as often or more often people come and that doesn't happen. They feel invisible. They leave sometimes feeling worse than they did before they came. Or they sometimes conclude, and people have told me this, that the church really has no place for them. There's no spot for them. I was talking to someone and they were telling me, I've come and it just didn't seem like it happened. It just didn't seem like nothing ever really clicked. And they weren't really talking about getting in a clique, the cliche, but they were talking about, I just never really felt like I fit where I was at. So here's a ministry that you could do. You could start right now. You don't need special training. You'll get better at it, but you just have to do it. And that means you could become a loneliness lookout. You could come, when you come, you pray before you come, but you come and you just look out for people who are alone. And perhaps they seem like they're new, or maybe they're just new to you. And that's always good to remember that we have multiple services and classes. And so it's good to approach them and to say, hey, I haven't met you yet. And maybe you see them, they're sitting by themselves. You could, are they, and so what do you do if you're going to be a loneliness lookout? Well, let me give you just the basics. Number one, pray for them. Just immediately pray for them. When you see them, you're looking out for them, you pray for them. And then meet them. Go up to them. Say, hi, my name is so-and-so, and I haven't got to meet you yet. And they might say, oh, well, this is my first time here, or I've been coming for a while. I said, well, I'm really glad to meet you. And my name's so-and-so. And, have a conversation with them. Try to make sure they feel seen, oh, do you live here, or are you traveling, and so forth. Okay. I mean, don't be over intrusive, but make sure that they feel like somebody saw them. And then maybe, here's another thing sometimes we forget to do. If you're going to be a loneliness lookout, introduce them to somebody else. Hey, this is so-and-so, or this is so-and-so, or this is Pastor so-and-so, or this is this other person. If it's appropriate, and I mean in the context, sit by them. say, are you sit, or ask them to sit with you. Are you sitting with anybody, or you want to, I'm sitting over here if you want to. And then here's something that's really important as part of practicing hospitality. If you're in the early service, you can invite them to breakfast or to a meal. And for some of you that you have the opportunity, you can, I can't even say how many times, and I know that not everybody can do this, but people would invite me over for dinner or whatever when I was visiting. And you can be a loneliness lookout for not just people in your demographic, but people that are different. People of all ages. You might see a little kid who's really seems put out, and I realize you have to be sensitive to this and not be, intrusive, but just to notice them. And this takes practice, but we have to practice. This is what Romans 12:10 says, be devoted to one another in brotherly love. This is what friendship is. Give preference to one another in honor. Make it a priority. Not lagging behind in diligence. That means you got to work at it. You can't be a shirker. Fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in tribulation, devoted to prayer, and then contributing to the needs of the saints, being generous. Then he says, practicing hospitality. We have to practice. And this is how we love like Jesus. Jesus said, this is how people are going to know you're my disciples. If you agape one another. And then he says, no greater love has anyone, no greater agape has anyone than to lay down his life for his philos, for his friends. So, Hebrews 13:2 says, do not neglect to show hospitality. This is something we just can't slack on. For by some have entertained angels without knowing it. Now, I don't know about that. Maybe this is the Greek word angelos for messengers, but maybe it's divine messenger. You don't know. So don't neglect this. And you step up. Let's create an entire kind of, like I talked about last week, a critical force, a critical mass that is a group of people who are loneliness lookouts. This is a huge mental health, physical health, social, cultural problem of people lonely and getting accustomed to being lonely. And the answer is, the church is the answer, that we can, but it's not going to happen automatically. We have to practice it. So this Sunday, here's some things you can do. Be present. So show up this week. I know you got all kinds of things, but make being present a priority. If you start now, you're better chance of getting there. Number 2, be praying. Be praying for people that you see them. 3, be looking. Look for where God's at work, and that means you'll see they're there. This is your new job. Be looking. You're a loneliness lookout. And then be intentional. You be intentional about it. You take the initiative. You join God's activity. They came, and this can go on outside of being in church services, but this is a good place to start. You be one of these new servants. This is your ministry. You be a loneliness lookout. I can't wait to see what God's going to do with this. Now, this Sunday, we're going to talk about one of the contributors to loneliness in our society, both by those that are doing it and those that have had it done to them. And we're going to talk about God's solution to cancel culture. And so I really hope that this could be helpful to you. And you'll be surprised. God, there really is a cure for this. And it's both inward and outward. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully I'll see you at 8 or 11. And I really want to encourage you to come to breakfast. Come to breakfast, sit around the table, talk to people, meet some people, or at least get fed. And then stay for class. We're going to talk about just the reality of relationships like this that we find in the scripture. It's a funny thing about the Bible. The Bible doesn't kind of sugarcoat it. It's just real. But that's what we're real. And so we want to be around real people with real relationships. I can't wait to see you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. And remember, you can share this with others that you might think would be helpful. And you know how it is. If you want to give to support this ministry and this Cabin Talks, you can go to our website and just pass tfbc.com or ToledoFirstBaptist.com/give. Talk to you later.